there's some misinformation that I constantly see being spread by some leftists, especially anti-imperialist, anti-everything America does leftists that want to blame everything bad that happens anywhere in the world on the United States. Again, I don't make excuses for the bad things the United States actually does. Like, we highlight them here. You guys know that we highlight them here on this show. Like, we don't shy away from it, right? But we also don't exaggerate. We also don't try to whitewash what tyrannical governments like the Islamic Republic of Iran, how much they're responsible for the misery of their people. It's not all just because of the United States, right? Like, like I'm talking about people like Kyle Kulinski, right, at the Secular Talk. And one of the main things that they point out is how United States has sanctioned food and medicine to Iran, okay? And this clip starts talking about that as well. But like, it's very dishonest because food and medicine haven't been sanctioned. Everything has been sanctioned except food and medicine, right? And again, whatever you think about the policies, the fact that you exaggerate and say things that are not true, like if United States is doing something wrong, just focus on the things that are factual and they're doing wrong. You don't need to say things that are not true. Okay, so let's actually highlight this part. Okay, so we want to see. I mean, I have seen so many experts talk about this, and every time I hear the experts talk about this, it goes against the narrative that the sanctions are responsible for medicine not getting to Iran. And I should have clipped every single one of them. Okay, but now I saw, like, this is the latest one I've seen. And from now on, every time I see it, I'm going to clip it, okay? Because there's so many of them. Every time I hear experts talking about this, it goes against what the leftists are telling Americans about the nature of sanctions on Iran, okay? So, yes, exactly. Secular Talk, or basically a Soleimani apologist. I'm going to do an entire stream dedicated to that, by the way, okay? So let's actually let's listen to this BBC. This is BBC. Okay, so this is a pretty legitimate, outlet, and also they're bringing an expert. So let's listen to this. So it gets to the point at the very end. The point that I want to highlight, it gets to the very end. But let's get some context before we get to the point. Okay.
در ایران کمبود دارو مشکل ساز شده. رئیس
She's saying in Iran, lack of medicine is becoming is a problem, obviously.
هیئت مدیره انجمن تالاسمی گفته که امسال
So she's referring to this disease called thalassemia in Persian. I don't know what that disease is in English, because I've seen a lot of protests by parents of children with this disease. Apparently they're dying. Thalassemia. Do you guys know what the English translation of that is? Like, there's a lot of protests because these kids are dying because of lack of access to medicine, and a lot of parents are protesting in Iran because of the lack of access to medicine. Right. So again, don't believe everything these anti-imperialist people tell you, that they try to frame the narrative as if everything is because of like imperialism and stuff like that. Okay. So anybody knows what this disease is? Thalassemia.
سال هیچ دارویی برای درمان این بیماری وارد نشده. محمد علی گفته که امسال هیچ دارویی برای درمان این بیماری وارد.
So this year apparently no medicine for this disease has been imported to Iran, not a single one.
نشده. محمد علیزاده گفته که آمار مرگ و میر بیماران مبتلا به تالاسمی به شدت بالا رفته و در 3 سال گذشته.
So the stats for people dying from this disease, thalassemia, has increased in the past year.
دست کم 538 بیمار جانشان را از دست دادند.
538 people in the last year have died from this disease. Guys, what's the name of this disease in English? Thalassemia. Anybody knows?
روزنامه همشهری هم گزارش داده که داروهای اروپایی سرطان نایاب شده و دیگر تحت پوشش بیمه نیست.
Also, medicine for cancer has become very rare as well.
این مسئله باعث شده که هزینه درمان کودکان مبتلا به بعضی انواع سرطان به هفته 8 میلیون تومان برسد. کودکان مبتلا به بعضی انواع سرطان
And that's why some kids, the medicine for some kids who have cancer, the prices of their medicine has skyrocketed, so they
به
don't have
هفته
access.
8 میلیون تومان برسد. گفته می شود که مهم
Oh, so here's thank you, Mizugai. It's in English. It's called thalassemia. Is an inherited blood disorder characterized by less oxygen carrying. Thank you so much, Mizugai. Less oxygen carrying protein or hemoglobin and fewer red blood cells in the body than normal. Okay, so that's the disease. Okay, thank you so much, Mizugai. You're an angel.
مهمترین دلایل کمبود دارو در ایران تحریم و اختصاص نیافتن ارز دولتی برای کمبود دارو در ایران.
So she's saying that it's been said that the reason why this medicine is not available is
8 میلیون تومان برسد. گفته می شود که مهمترین دلایل کمبود دارو در ایران تحریم و اختصاص نیافتن ارز دولتی برای واردات داروهای بیماری‌های
So she says it's been said that the main reasons for the lack of access to these medicines are the sanctions and the lack of funds being given for buying these medicines. Okay, so that's what she's saying. That's what being said. So now let's listen to the expert that they have on.
خاص است. دکتر یاسر قریشی متخصص
So this is Dr. Yasser Qureshi.
اطفال و از پزشکان بدون مرز.
So he's a pediatric specialist, right? So for children, and he's also a member
از
of
استانبول ترکیه. دکتر یاسر قریشی متخصص اطفال و از پزشکان بدون مرز از استانبول.
And he's a member of Doctors Without Borders, and he's an Iranian speaking from Istanbul in Turkey.
استانبول ترکیه با ماست. خوش آمدید آقای دکتر. شما خودتون با بیماران مختلف از جمله بیماران مبتلا به تالاسمی در ایران
She's saying you have a lot of experience dealing with thalassemia patients in Iran. So that's what because he deals with children. That's one thing that he has been very much involved in.
کار کردید. داروهای این بیماری چقدر برای اونها حیاتیه؟
She's asking how important is these medicines how vital is this for these patients, for these children?
خب برای بیماران تالاسمی ما یه سری داروهایی می‌خوایم که
Let me actually put this on double speed. Hold on.
واقعا تاثیر بسیاری داره توی ادامه زندگیشون به خاطر اینکه بیماران مجبورن هر هفته خون هر ماه خون تزریق بکنن به واسطه این تزریق خون آهن.
He's saying basically the medicine is like vital for them to be able to continue to live.
پیدا می‌کنن بدنشون برای ما با داروهایی بهشون بدیم که آهن ضبط بکنن. الان مدت‌ها هست که این داروها اجازه وارداتش داده نمیشه تا چند سال قبل.
Like these medicines they have been banned from being imported, right?
کم میذاشتن وارد بشه فقط از شمول بیمه خارج شده بود به عنوان مثلا دسپرال رو اصلش رو نمیذاشتن وارد بشه اکسید اصلش رو نمیذاشتن وارد بشه شرکت وسطشون کرده بود دسپرال زدن
He's giving some details about the bans.
ولی مطلقاً کارایی اون داروهای اصلی خارجی رو نداشتن ولی ما می‌دیدیم
and he's saying like instead of importing they're making their own internal medicine like they're built in Iran, right? So instead of importing them they're trying to make their own medicine from Iranian brand medicine. But these medicine that they make in Iran, it's not having the same results. Like it's like it doesn't have any of the results of the medicine that we import. So that's why, like, I don't know, he's saying something happens to their heart because of all the iron for some. Okay, that's too much detail, but we don't need to know that. Like many of this medicine, they don't allow us to import it anymore. Like what happens to them if they don't get this medicine? Like if they don't get this medicine, they die. The kids die. But he's saying, but it's a very slow death. It's a very slow process, and it's a very torturous death, slow, torturous way to die, right? So these are the kids, by the way. I feel like a lot of them can't walk. All of the kids that I've seen that don't have access to this medicine, they're bringing them in front of these offices, and the kids are part of the protest asking for medicine from the officials, right? And these are the parents protesting in front of the governmental offices.
طلسمی دارو رو ما بهش ندیم و فوت بکنه. این بیمار مدت‌های زیاد زجر خواهد کشید ناشی از این
Like he's saying these patients will they will be in a lot of misery for a long time before they die.
نارسایی قلبی که پیدا کرده و اگر داروی درست باشه خیلی
Look, these are okay. So you can see these are the footage of the protests. These are the parents that showed up with their kids in front of this government buildings because their kids are dying and they don't have the medicine. This is a really torturous way, by the way, for them to die. That's what he's saying. They're coming in front of the government buildings and protesting because of the lack of access to medicine. Okay, so we'll get to the point. Hold on.
اینها رو میشه در واقع جلوشو گرفت.
فکر می‌کنید که دلایل این کمبود
Oh, look at these are the parents holding the signs.
و اگر داروی درست باشه خیلی از اینها رو میشه در واقع جلوشو گرفت.
And like these are the kids, like none of they can't. None of them seem to be able to walk because of the disease, but they're here with their signs in front of the government building, protesting, like telling the government to. There was this very cute, really cute little kid that I saw another video of. It's not here. That was speaking directly to a government official. One of them, he was in a wheelchair. He was very well spoken, even though he was really young. Like. And he was very well spoken, like official, like really taking the government official to task. Okay, so but let's see. So now here's the important part. Okay, and I want people who listen to Kyle Kulinski and all these anti-imperialists who think that all the problems in Iran is because of the sanctions. I want them to pay attention to this part. Okay, like somebody might be like, tell Kyle Kulinski to like pay attention to all the experts instead of like spreading all this bullshit around. Okay, so listen to this part. Okay, so the reporter is asking him, the doctor,
می‌کنید که دلایل این کمبود دارو که الان شاهدش هستیم چیه؟ فقط تحریم هاست؟
like, what do you think is the reason why we have such lack access to medicine in Iran? Is it because of the sanctions,
چه مسائل دیگه‌ای هم هست؟
or is it other factors as well?
ولی به نظر من تحریم اصلا نقشی نداره دیگه.
He's saying, I don't think that the sanctions have any influence on the lack of accessibility of these medicine.
واقعا کمبود دارو. من هیچ وقت به هر حال بجز اینکه پزشک بودم قبل از اینکه دوره ضد نشاط با شرکت دارویی هم کار می‌کردم هیچ وقت دارو تحریم نبود. مشکل
like when I was working in Iran, I was a doctor, but I was also working with part of his job was also working with all these medicine providing or companies. And he's saying, like he's working with institutions responsible for getting these medicines, and he's like he never like medicine was never sanctioned. There was never an issue, like sanctions was never basically prohibiting him from getting the medicine. So he's confirming somebody who was working, a doctor who's working directly with these institutions with medicine. Like that was part, like getting these medicine was part of his job. He's saying sanctions were never the problem. There were no sanctions on medicine. He's confirming that. So it's not a lot of people are like, oh well, technically there's no sanctions, but effectively because of the sanctions people can't get this medicine. He's saying that he had the reason why the reason why he was not being able to get some medicine had nothing to do with the sanctions. Okay, so now he tells you why he didn't have access to medicine. Okay, he's like, the reason why we don't have access to some medicine is because of the government policies because when some of the policies when they decide that certain medicine should not be imported, right? The reason why we don't have medicine in Iran for these kids who are dying is because the government has decided that certain medicine shouldn't be imported. It's a decision by the government, not because of the sanctions. Okay? Like, and the reason is the excuse for them, the excuse for banning certain medicine from being imported is to support internal production. Okay? These children are dying because of the government's protectionist attitudes. These children are being tortured, having slowly miserable lives, slowly dying in the most excruciating way because this government wants to encourage internal production. That's why they're dying. It's protectionism that is killing these children, not the sanctions. It's the government that is murdering these children in favor of boosting the economy because they think protectionism works. Oh yeah, actually, there's a good point. Somebody who I can't pronounce the name is saying, "Wait, do you mean to tell me that it's there that their so-called anti-imperialist attitudes basically are saying that they'll deny giving the population essential medicine?" Yes, actually, you're very correct. Actually, I didn't think about it like that. So it's actually not imperialism, what these people call imperialism, that is killing these children. It's actually anti-imperialist attitudes that is killing these children. Like, it's in the name of anti-imperialism. It's in the name of not being reliant on Western powers. That attitude is killing these children. So anti-imperialism is killing these children, not imperialism. I mean, what so-called anti-imperialism and so-called imperialism. So Kyle, it's not your ideological enemies. It's not their way of thought that is killing these children. It's your brand of thinking, your anti-Americanism, your dogmatic anti-Western attitudes. It's people who think like you who are responsible for these children dying.
گاهی اوقات ران همونطوری که سر واکسن کرونا دیدیم در واقع سیاست‌گذاری وزارت بهداشت هست که جلوی واردات دارو رو میگیره، حالا چه به صورت ممنوعیت واردات چه به صورت عدم تخصیص ارز دولتی برای اینکه با قیمت مناسب دارو وارد بشه. فکر می‌کنم اگر دولت سیاستش رو تغییر بده بسیاری از مشکلات واکسن کرونا دیدیم در واقع سیاست‌گذاری وزارت.
So he's saying, like, this is exactly what we saw with the Rona virus, the jab that is required for the disease that you guys is going around. The ban for importing the jab for that was banned from the supreme leader himself. So don't tell me. In fact, United States was offering to support Iran with the jabs, to support like reducing the disease, and the Iranian government officially said no to that, and they banned any form of imports of it because they're so anti-American. They're saying no to medicine that their people need because how anti-American they are. This is insane. They're holding their own people hostage, their own children hostage. They're sacrificing their most vulnerable civilians, which is sick children, because they want to say no to America. It's unbelievable. It's the most disgusting thing.
بهداشت هست که جلوی واردات با بهانه حمایت از تولید داخلی سیاست‌گذاری دولت بود که تصمیم گرفت گاهی دارو وارد نشه. بنابراین الان حالا با بهانه حمایت از تولید داخلی گاهی اوقات ران همونطوری که سر واکسن کرونا دیدیم در واقع سیاست‌گذاری وزارت بهداشت هست که جلوی واردات.
Like, it's basically the health ministry. It's the policy of the health ministry that is stopping the medicine from coming in.
ممنوعیت واردات چه به صورت عدم تخصیص ارز.
And he's saying it happens in two ways. Either it's because they put a ban on importing a certain medicine, or they remove the funding for buying a certain medicine.
دولتی برای اینکه با قیمت مناسب دارو وارد بشه. فکر می‌کنم اگر دولت سیاستش رو تغییر بده بسیاری از مشکلات حل میشه.
He's saying, last word, which is the most important part, is like, if the government changes its policies, most of these problems will go away. That's what he's saying. Like, most of these problems will go away simply if they change their policies. So please hold the Islamic Republic of Iran responsible. Not everything is because of the United States. Not everything is because of the evil West. Okay?
Hey guys, if you want to join these streams live, get your comments and questions read by Ali and Armin and the guests, and most importantly, to get full access to the full video versions of all these episodes, become a patron. Link in the description below.